What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel, and today we are here for episode 11 of the Philadelphia Eagles Madden 22 franchise rebuild, and today it is the offseason, the entirety of the offseason, signing our own players, free agency, trades, the draft, which we have 3 first-round picks. All of that is happening here today. I wanted to make this a live stream. I got 2 kids. Super hard. Like, I literally was looking at my schedule, like, when can I do this live stream? I looked at the end of last week, when really the end of the last episode, and I was like, can't do it this week. Maybe I could do it next week. And like I can't, for content purposes, I can't push pause on the Eagles franchise to kind of wait for that. So I'm hoping that there will be an offseason. This is going to be a long series for us. Hopefully there will be an offseason that lines up, because live stream off seasons are very fun. I love interacting with you guys. I love seeing your reactions as I kind of pull the strings here a little bit, but it just didn't work out this year, which is, you know, it is what it is, man. No dwelling about it. I've been sitting here like literally 30 minutes. Not necessarily anxiety, creative anxiety, for example. I'm like, I think I know what I'm gonna do. We got some good players that could. I was like, I'm nervous. I'm just nervous. The only way to do it though is jump in 2 feet in. So thank you guys very much for making this Eagles franchise so fun to record. We've been smashing and crushing our like goals. Something simple today. I would love to just continue to keep all the positive vibes here. 1,000 likes on today's video. I would very, very much appreciate it. And let's get into the offseason, fellas. So, the offseason, we finished 8-9. 84 overall offense, 80 defense, 80 base overall. We're still a solid team. We were very close to making the playoffs. We were a field goal made from Dallas and maybe some other luck going away to making the playoffs. So, we're not necessarily in a rip it all down, full-on, sell the team rebuild. Maybe we're a couple players away. We go into this offseason. More so will feature on the draft picks right now. We know our own draft pick. We pick at 15. That is the Eagles draft pick. But we also held the first round draft picks for the Miami Dolphins and Indianapolis Colts. We have the 4th overall pick from the Colts, outstanding for Carson Wentz. And we have the 8th overall pick from the Dolphins, which can have fun with Jalen Waddle. Thank you very much for the 8th pick. Now, there's a lot of ways to think about this. This is something that, like, looking at it in Madden, maybe think about it in real life. Do you really ever want 3 first round picks? Like, yes, if you're an all rebuild, that's good. Like, if you're an okay team, you got some good young players. When you just thinking about it, if you hit on all 3 of these picks, especially because in Madden 22, for whatever reason, there's no 5th-year option anymore, that's going to be 3 very expensive contracts that need to come in the same time. Like, are you going to be able to work that in? Like, if I have 3 guys here that are all stars, superstar, dev, playmakers, 84, 85 plus, expecting to re-sign all of them, all 3 of them in one offseason, that's going to be tough, man. You're kind of playing yourself into a hole there a little bit. You know, and another downside, especially with how it relates to Madden 22's new scouting mechanic. The entirety of this series was stopped because of the scouting mechanic. I want that to be put into the game. It's hard. They are making it very difficult to get information from players. And we're doing our due diligence at the quarterback spot. I feel like that is the most important position for us to hit with those 3 first-round picks. And we have 3 guys so far that are scouted 100%. Braxton McKee from Utah, Randy Gray from Michigan, Owen Hauser from Colorado. And unfortunately, you want to be like, I want a bubble of quarterbacks that I would feel comfortable drafting. And really, I think we got 2 guys here that are kind of crossing their names off the list. You look at Braxton McKee, know he's a scrambler, but like, okay, the key ratings don't look anything special. And knowing that his parameters for his throw power are solid to good, and you're kind of looking there, you get a good picture of the different ratings that you can get. Great to elite, it's what you want. So solid to good, like, is this another noodle arm quarterback? I do not want that. I do not want a guy that's essentially going to be Jalen Hurts again. We want something different. We have Randy Gray from Michigan. He's scouted 100% right now. Key ratings look a lot better. A deep, A mid, A short. Sensational. And then you get hung up on the throw power. It's solid to good. What does that mean? Like, I'm trying to apply like a letter grade. Like, that's probably B throw power. I'm not touching anyone with B throw power. I don't care if you have 97 accuracy. I'm not drafting Tom Brady currently, right? You know, as like a 23-year-old. No, thank you. And right now, this is the guy we want. That's why we got the little heart next to him. Owen Hauser from Colorado. A deep, A mid. B short's not ideal, but he has A throw under pressure, and his current throw power parameters between great and elite. So I'm going to assume that's probably at least an A, which has been the threshold in the older Madden for drafting a quarterback. Unfortunately, you know, teams like Detroit that absolutely need a quarterback are picking higher than us, and it's gonna take a lot, I think, for Owen Hauser to fall to the number 4 pick. So we're going to have private workouts. We're going to get 3 more players that we're going to get a lot more information from. For sure, it's going to be Tyson Atkinson. He's the guy that started as #1 QB pre-draft. All the stuff to open up the season. He was quarterback 1. I'm very interested. We have Brian Evans, 80%. Very interested. Top 5 projection. And then we got Cam McLean from Texas. Might as well, right? Get as many of these first-round quarterbacks 100% to completion so that we know what we're doing with our pick. The downside of that is if, say, the draft pops. Say Gray is not the guy we want. Atkinson, Evans, McLean, McKee, they're all, we get to a spot where it's like, are they better than Jalen Hurts? Do we just stick with Jalen Hurts and wait for a quarterback next year kind of deal? It's like, okay, well, you can do that, right? Because Jalen Hurts showed some promise this year. But the issue is that if I defect off these quarterbacks, right? And this is kind of almost like a real-life situation, because if you're the Philadelphia Eagles right now, you're probably looking at Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, all those guys that are, in reality, not bona fide franchise can't-miss quarterbacks in the draft. So Philadelphia is looking at, replace these names with those guys. And you're like, I don't really think we should go. We did our homework on the quarterbacks, and I'm not seeing guys that are going to be within our range that's going to be an upgrade immediately over Jalen Hurts. Fine. So in real life, you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You're like, well, maybe we get Kayvon Thibodeau. Maybe we can find a way to get Derek Stingley or Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame. Fine. In the world of Madden, because of how they've set up this scouting, I have no information. I'm going to be picking blind on pretty much every position because I have prioritized, overcommitted, whatever you want to call it, to the quarterback spot because we have to. We kind of have to, especially with the picks that we have. So, if corners, 40% completion. Safeties, we need safety. We have 2 guys here, first rounders, Shelton Davenport from Ohio State, Amos from Oklahoma. I'm going to be picking in the dark. I'm going to be able to go off the physicals. I'm going to be able to see their combine and use some of that knowledge. But ultimately, if we don't go quarterback, if we don't find a way with these 3 picks to go quarterback, a hit on a quarterback, we're going to be making major investments and we're going to be picking blind because we decided early on, and I think it was the right call, to go after a quarterback. So it's not ideal. I'm going to say this. If we can't find a quarterback at 4, or do we trade all of our picks to get the first overall pick for Hauser? Or do we look outside of this and look for another trade for a quarterback? I feel like, honestly, we've committed ourselves to this first round, this first offseason, this first draft. 3 picks, future picks, whatever. We have to walk away with a quarterback. And that's just the nature of the beast, because it's either we walk away with the quarterback, we do whatever it takes to get a quarterback that's an upgrade over Jalen Hurts, a quarterback that is going to be our franchise quarterback for the next couple seasons at minimum. Or we potentially waste 3 first-round picks, picking in the dark, picking just based off of combine numbers. It is what it is, man. So, you can see where I'm coming from. Right now in my head, the wheels turn. There's smoke coming out my ears. I'm trying to figure this out. What is going to be the best course of action? And right now, all we can do is scout those last of the first-round quarterbacks. Hopefully, a QB2 behind. I'm just not optimistic that we can get Hauser. At least waiting for him to fall to us. He's the #1 overall player. But if an Atkinson looks really good or something like that, that's kind of best case scenario right now. If not, we're gonna have to look for alternatives. So to start this offseason, we got coaches. I'm not happy with these coaches. I don't like these coaches. I've not been spending or investing in these coaches. It is time to change it up.
While I wasn't able to cut everyone I wanted to, I have cut a lot of you. Wendell is cut. Rudy is cut. Janie, you're gone. Steven, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you.
And the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, I did interview some defensive guys for sure. Todd Bowles is really the top of that list. Obviously, what he's done with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, bringing them to a Super Bowl. He has previous head coaching experience, has previously coached in Philadelphia. Ticked a lot of the boxes, but ultimately, I just feel like in today's NFL, you need an offensive-minded head coach. And we conducted a thorough process at some of the top offensive coaches, top OCs. Eric Bieniemy from the Kansas City Chiefs, getting someone else from that Andy Reid pipeline back in Philadelphia. But I kind of felt like we've been there, we've done that before. It's time for fresh ideas. Crested interviewed Brian Dable, and yet again, back-to-back off seasons, he's refused to interview for the Philadelphia Eagles head coaching job. Fuck you. I really wanted Joe Brady. I thought he was for sure going to be our successor to Nick Sirianni, but Howie Roseman, even though he's no longer in the building, Jeffrey Lurie is still here. He must have been present on those interviews where they dismissed Joe Brady last year, decided it was best, I don't know, and for whose interest to go with Nick Sirianni. So when we requested this offseason for Joe Brady to come in, even though it's a fresh regime, Lurie is still there. He did not even pick up the phone, which might have been a blessing in disguise, because the man that we have signed a 3-year contract to become the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles just kind of adds to a rivalry. Very excited to announce the new head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, former Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. I know a lot of Cowboy fans are going to be upset about that. That's the point. They did not fire Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones sticking with Mike McCarthy. This is going to be a downfall. And this deal almost didn't happen. There was a lot of ties right now between Kellen Moore going back to college, where he's a legend, at Boise State and becoming their next head coach. We said, hey man, you little buggered? You a little frustrated with what's going on with Dallas, how things ended? You thought you were going to be the next head coach of America's team? They didn't want you. So what better way to prove them wrong, to stick it to Jerry Jones, than coming here to Philadelphia and kicking their ass every single year? Now that we have our head coach in line, we're going to allow him finish up, fill out his coaching staff, get ready, get some notes together for free agency, and then it is time to find a quarterback and figure out this draft. All right, now that we have Kellen Moore, it is time to assemble the rest of the coaching staff. And unfortunately, you can't edit the OC or DC's names, because I was getting ready to have a ball. I was going to look like Jim Leonard as my DC, someone from college as my OC. But we are kind of stuck with, the available options, and you kind of got to rock and roll with it. So just find guys that kind of suit what you're rocking and rolling with. So for Kellen Moore right now, and obviously this could all change. We have West Coast for sure. Absolutely, that is Kellen Moore. Defensively, I think it's just default Tampa 2. We could still go in and change that just a little bit. But I know for the OC, we definitely want a West Coast style offense to do exactly what Kellen Moore has been doing with the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to want a West Coast. We got Jamie Rodriguez, offensive playbook, formerly of the Raiders. West Coast Power Run. We got West Coast Power Run Luke Fletcher. Okay. Zone Run Mac Williams. I like Mac Williams. That's a great name. And then we have Joseph Wells, who actually was here in Philadelphia with us. I think I'm going to go Mac Williams. I just like the name. I like the name. He has 3 talents. Actually, we might even want to go who has the most talents. And it actually is Mac Williams right now. Just straight up, sure, at this point. So we're going to get Mac Williams as our OC. Again, just give us the ability to edit the names and stuff like that. Why not? Okay, I get it. Down on the licensing, right? But just let me go in and modify. I know the licensing for college players. I can go and make a custom draft class, even though I'm not allowed to upload it to the Madden share. Defensively, all I know is I for sure don't want to be in a 3-4. I know there's a bunch of different playbooks and stuff like that, which is fine, which is fair. But by this point, I do want to look. I'll tell you right now, Sammy Rios looks like a Sean McDermott background, if that's what we can take from this. And for me, Sean McDermott has a Jim Johnson background. If you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan of really more than 10, 15 years, you know who Jim Johnson is. So that guy there, Sammy Rios, already kind of very intriguing. We have Anthony Strickland here. Again, I'm just going by defensive playbook. Maybe he's a former member of the Bengals staff there. I'm not a huge fan of the Bengals defense. We have Sammy Wagner from the 49ers. Maybe that's a little bit more in line with like D'Amico Ryans potentially, which obviously there's some ties there with Philadelphia. We have Bill Summers, who was with us last year. I think this is very easy for me. Sammy Rios, I'm going to assume like by some way, if you're making a big family tree, is connected to the late, great Jim Johnson, who was the last truly great defensive coordinator here in Philadelphia. So welcome to the team, Sammy Rios. And with signing all those coaches, we've got those bonuses. So we have 124 staff points here to work. I mean, right now, we do have a couple big ones. This is a huge one for us. Feels like home. Scheme fits have increased interest signing in free agency. That is one of the more powerful abilities in any of these talent trees. But I think for us, really the next 2 that you want to work towards is the final pieces, the same kind of way, and I map out and blueprint my rebuilds. You want the final piece, and you also really want after-school tutoring because it gives you additional weekly training. I think overall, though, the final piece is the most important because you get boosts on all of your players through weekly training. So that is kind of what we're going to spend on here. In terms of XP gains, let's go with the idea of Kellen Moore. He's going to be an offensive guy, so we're going to work our way down the offensive side of this skill tree. I think we will have enough points to get down there and and get the final piece ability unlocked for our team, which we do. We still have 19 points remaining. Everything I think here is 20 for the most part. I'm not, again, I do want to work our way down to after-school tutoring, and we don't have any X factors on defense. I'm looking at trench play. I don't think we're going to have enough salary cap to sign one on the open market. That could be important. We can't even afford that one. All right, yeah, let's just spend our points there. Again, let's work our way towards unlocking after-school tutoring. Mock Draft 2 has been released here, and it is... I mean, we're still working on Atkinson, but it's literally... you can't take mock drafts for what they're worth. Like, the fact that this is the draft order... the Jets aren't most likely not taking a quarterback. You know that the Chargers are not taking a quarterback. You know, it's good that we're ahead of the Texans because they might want to take a quarterback. They still have Deshaun Watson. So, again, a lot hinges on the fact that the one QB that I want to draft is probably going to be going to the Lions. And it is still just hinging on Tyson Atkinson really being a baller for us. But good news is Davenport must be solid. He's still getting mocked to us. He's a guy that's very interesting to potentially bring in. But again, as we continue this process, as we continue through this offseason, I think this is going to be the big guy here. Tyson Atkinson, if he looks good, ticks all the boxes, you know, maybe that's going to be our guy. If not, we might have to get creative. We have our retirements. I'm sure most Chiefs fans are very happy that Sorensen retired. Richard Sherman has retired. Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders. At this point, I'm just really hoping we don't see Kelsey or anyone. Whitworth has retired. Jimmy Smith, Malcolm Jenkins. Thank you for everything. Malcolm Jenkins, Philadelphia Eagle legend. Gerald McCoy Incognito. AJ Green has signed. Everson Griffin. We got Dwayne Brown, Fitzpatrick, Devin McCourty, Alex Mack, Jason Peters, another absolute legend for the Philadelphia Eagles. Mercedes Lewis deserves a little bit of respect there. He's an absolute beast. You got some lesser known players there. Alfred Morris, Amendola, Larry Fitzgerald, Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore. I think at this point it's all just, you know, guys like, you know, Cam Wake, dudes that have been sitting there on free agency. But hey, we got through. No retirements. Everyone is buying in to the hype that Kellen Moore is bringing to the building. For us, we have our final big decision on players we want to re-sign, our last opportunity before they become free agents. And I'm not really seeing much. Anthony Harris didn't do much for us. Rodney McLeod, 80 speed, just a liability at this point. I mean, if we're picking players that I like, Boston Scott, but not at that price point, I would have him back. Alex Singleton, not at that price point. I'd have him back as depth for sure. TJ Edwards, I'd have back as depth. Herbig, I would have back as depth. Tyree Jackson, very intriguing. That is a ridiculous contract. You are a 57 overall tight end, sir. I'm pretty sure if I let you hit the open market, I can bring you back for under $1 million. So I'll tell you right now, like Herbig probably won't have a big market either. So a lot of these guys that are more so low-key, you know, favorite players of mine, I'll let them hit that open market and see if we can just bring them in low ball, because I don't think there's going to be really a huge demand for these guys across the league. So the combine has completed, unfortunately, because we're so heavily focused on the quarterbacks. There's not much that you gain from the combine for your QBs. What you do is for the other positions, man, that we are potentially looking at improving. And I think that starts on the defensive side of the ball, looks at the linebackers, helps us for some of these blind selections. You know, there's certain key attributes you want to look for. Like this guy doesn't look particularly good. You want to look for 43 cone, usually a good 43 cone and 20. You're going to be a fairly solid player. And again, they still have a second opportunity. I have seen players with not great combines, better pro days, which really give you something to think about. Like, look, Ben Watkins looks a little bit more desirable. 9th with a 4.68, 6th and 5th in the 3 cone and the 20-yard shuttle. So it kind of fits the parameters we're looking with here. We have Paul Barnes out of Washington. A pursuit, F zone coverage is pretty rough. Very slow, 4.82. That might not... You're definitely not going in the first round if you want a 4.82 unless you're like an edge rusher. We have Hughes, middle linebacker, Ole Miss, physicals. Well, did not attend the combine, so that's always a little bit intriguing. Got to wait till the pro day there. Curtis Mooney from LSU. What do we got here? 8th in the 40, 10th and 10th. That doesn't look amazing for blind picking a player. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go through every single player right now. We'll be able to kind of more highlight guys when it gets to the draft because players are going to be in a range. I don't want to talk about guys that are completely going to be irrelevant to our squad in this draft. But I'm just letting some of these talk. Mathis looks a lot better, though. 5th in the 40-yard dash, 4.57. 5th in the 3 cone. 2nd in the shuttle. He could be I'm going to give him a little heart here. Joseph Mathis from Wisconsin. Look at the right outside linebackers. We have Brian Rogan. Again, another thing with scouting, and we talked about this earlier, is just with the linebackers, you don't know what their scheme's going to be. Like, are you a pass rusher? Are you edge rusher? Are you a run stuffer? Are you a field general? That is another just really tough bit of information to get with the new algorithm here. Like, Lashley doesn't look great. Mario Jackson, where's he from? Oklahoma. B block shedding, C tackle. Very slow. 3-cone looks okay. Top 10 in both those spots. Rashard McPhee. What are you saying? B block shed, F zone. So again, you can just almost assume that these guys with really, really low zone coverage are more so 3-4 edge rushers than what they would be. And I mean, that's, you know, so some of them are obvious. If you're 6'6", 263, you're going to be a 3-4 edge rusher. But you look at this guy, 6'3", 230, you know, it's probably more like a Zach Bond type build, where Zach Bond doesn't really look like a pass rusher, but that's what he was predominantly at Wisconsin. So, I mean, get a look at the safeties here. That's another position that we desperately need a lot of help. The top safety right now, just to pique my interest, Bobby Dubois from William and Mary. Shout out to, is that where Snacks Harrison went? 7th in the 40. It's not bad. He looks solid. Not a home run prospect by any means. But well, yeah, we had two really good strong safeties. It'll be a good consolation prize if you end up with one of these guys. David Amos from Oklahoma, B tackle, C zone, 1st in the 40, 1st 3-cone, 1st and 20-yard shuttle. So this guy's going to be an absolute baller. What about Shelton Davenport, the last player that was mocked to us in mock draft 2? B hit power, C zone coverage, 4th and 40, 2nd and 3-cone, 4th in the 20-yard shuttle. Yeah, both those guys look very good. Those look like, right now, that is the appealing players to me that are not quarterbacks at this given point. And I'm sure there's going to be, like I said, there's going to be more information gained through the pro days and stuff like that, but ultimately, while we are so heavily focused on quarterbacks, not going to get a lot of separation from some of these players just based upon, you know, running in a straight line. Quarterbacks, we'll go by position of need. I'm not going to go through every single position over here. I am intrigued by Kyle Trask being there, I'll be honest, but again, you know, we're trying to find someone that can separate from Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew, and there's an interesting, can we salvage a career, and Rose in there a little bit. Nick Foles coming back to Philly just writes itself. You got Drew Lock there, Cam Newton, Brissett, Mariota, Trubisky. It's just, okay, not a great QB class. Not going to be finding our franchise quarterback here. Wide receiver is an interesting one because I really do want to grow and develop the wide receivers we have, especially Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins. And with our limited salary cap, this could be a spot that, like, if a wide receiver's still there, 3rd day of free agency, maybe we spend a little bit more. But right now, I just feel like wide receiver is a position that, at least on the top end of things, I'm not going to be overly aggressive. And even like the depth guys, that would be interesting. If there's already bids on them, I don't want to be getting bid wars for players. So as we work our way down here, I'm not seeing a whole lot. Like Preston Williams, you got John Ross, been there, done that, doesn't do it for me. Josh Gordon, God bless him. Yeah, again, I mean, for, you know, you bring Deshaun Jackson, have him retire. Well, he did that. It's something that's already happened. So I do think for wide receiver in particular, we maybe will look for a guy or two. Alshon's still in the game. Good for him, man. But it's not going to be, you know, we're not going to be aggressive bidders in the wide receiver market. Do we do it? Do we get Jordan Matthews at tight end? I mean, we still have Tyree Jackson that we can pay way down there. Kelvin Benjamin's available as a tight end. But again, I want this. This doesn't need to be a series strictly for the memes. This needs to be, let's find a way to improve our squad. And ultimately, we do need another tight end on the roster. That's not just Dallas Goedert and Stoles, a little bit more of a work in progress. So look at the guys, again, we got to get like value. We could just, you know, say whatever and bring back sections. But you know what? I do see a player that I have always really liked in Madden. I think he's underrated, and I think we're going to be able to get him for a very affordable price. And that's Donald Parham. 6'8", 240. He's done a lot of good for us this series. So let's give him a 2-year deal. Way too expensive for a guy that I don't think is going to have a whole lot of action here on the open market. So let's just give him something way too much of a bonus, like just over $1 million, 2 years, 2.8 mil, something like that. I feel okay about that. And it's yellow. That's like you need to drink more water, pee yellow, which is a decent confidence that you're going to be able to sign him. I'll show all the positions for free agents and kind of explain why I'm not getting for running backs. It's obvious. Miles Sanders, we're pretty good at that spot. As soon as it goes to the offensive line, Taron Armstead's always an intriguing player, but we're good with Mailata. At left guard, we have more so Landon Dickerson for the upside. At center, we have Kelsey. If there was like a really good young center, Postage went up a dev trade, I could be a little bit intrigued. Depth is always important. I mean, what are we saying here for Billy Price? Former first-round pick of the Bengals. That could be okay depth. Give him maybe a 2-year deal. Again, with our limited salary cap, lowball him. I mean, at this point, you're lucky you're getting the job. So we'll just see if we can get that under $1 million for a salary cap hit for Billy Price. Right guard, Brandon Brooks, get out there at age. Again, Herbig, another player that I did want to try and bring back, so we'll throw him some money, and we're absolutely fine with Lane Johnson here at right tackle. The top tackle on the market is Schwartz, who I thought was retired. Defense end, same goes. We're kind of set. We have Brandon Grant coming back. Derek Barnett got himself a new contract, so there's going to be a rotation there, so I'm not overly interested in the man that did terrible things to Carson Wentz's brain with a very bad tackle. D-tackle, we're stacked. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Milton Williams. I see no need to even address depth here, even though there is a Canadian there, Nathan Shepard, which I'm not going to be biased toward. Then we got Josh Sweat, who, while kind of disappointing, was expecting maybe a little bit more of a breakout year from him. He's only 25.77. We have already committed salary cap, so I think we're good on the defensive line. Even though he got released in real life, Eric Wilson has played solid for us in this franchise. And again, it's a clean slate. It's not directly tied to real life. And I try my best to separate my real life feelings for certain players on the Eagles and judge how they're playing for us. Like Eric Wilson, like Jalen Reagor to an extent. So I'm not worried about left outside linebacker. But we can always look at just shifting potential players around. I mean, Tanner Muse is there. Could get him for the cheap. Leon Jacobs, great athlete, actually. That could be a guy that we intrigued about. Dorian Daniels, not too shabby as well. What do we got at middle linebacker? We got Bush, we're fine there. But again, you can look at players more so you could shift to the outside. Chris Barnes, super popular. That's just going to deplete our salary cap too much to bring him in. So I think we can look elsewhere. Someone like Jawan Bentley, but he has a lot of bids in there. Unfortunately, Josie Jewell, maybe not athletic. And then I'm not gonna say he's not athletic, but maybe not the type of athlete we're looking for. Jalen Smith. I mean, Jalen Smith right now is not playing. He might actually play for us right outside. That could be a good reclamation story. Honestly, I like Jalen Smith. No one didn't go down but a 2-year, 27, 28, somewhere in that range. Especially if I can lowball him a little bit, I would not hate. There's no other names there at linebacker that are overly intriguing. And the fact that we could have a little bit of reclamation here, and I don't think, to a certain degree, Davion Taylor. We're not going to be holding back Davion Taylor's development. I haven't personally just really seen that type of development yet. So why not? We'll throw a couple bucks here at Jalen Smith, and if we can land him, we'll kick him outside to right outside linebacker. Also, Jacoby Stevens, who's one of my favorite draft picks from the 2021 draft, got poached off our practice squad. I want him on the roster. I'm giving him literally the cheapest contract I can. At cornerback, I feel like we're okay this year. Darius Slay, Steven Nelson, Devontae Maddox. We have some young players certainly behind there, unless there was someone that was just screaming, sign us. Or like I'm a personal fan, I really want them on our squad. I think we're probably best not investing, at least on the first day of free agency at cornerback. I'm not seeing, I think we'll be okay with what we have at corner. Safety is really important. In case we can't land a safety in the draft, I do not like Epps that much. Xavier Woods is the top available. He's 27, looking for a 3-year deal until he's 30. I like Will Parks, even though he was already on the Eagles. Got rid of him. He's an Eagle fan. He was pretty cool. Sheldrick Redwine. Earl Thomas still there. What do you got at strong safety? Strong safety, free safety. I'm not going to say that they're interchangeable, but I will. Whoa, T. Hayward moved to safety. Good for him. But if we can find like a better, I think we should just sign one, or at least try to get one in the first day. Jaron Kearse. Javon Kearse is definitely, he actually could be an okay sign. What's he looking for? 2-year deal. Wow. Thought it would be, like, is there any corner that we can move to safety? Like, Des King could probably move to safety. Ryan Poole, he's up there in age a little bit. Trey Flowers could actually probably move to safety. What are these tackling? What kind of tackling numbers do we got? I'm going to go through. I'm not going to hold you guys up. I'm going to look, see if we can find the best tackling corner and maybe having a little experiment moving them to safety, because those safeties, I know shaded Xavier Woods, but I know he plays for Dallas, and, I already got enough Dallas on the squad right now with Kellen Moore coming up. So I'm going to look through all these corners, see if I can find a guy that might be better suited at safety. So we looked through, and I found 2 players that I do want to try to bring into the secondary and move them to safety. First is Ugo Amadi, who actually, I'm pretty sure got drafted out of Oregon as a safety, but he has pretty good tackling. He has 72 tackling, which is actually like the highest out of all the corners that are realistically options for us. But because, you know, he's so far down there, I think we will be able to lowball him just a little bit. 2 years, 2.4. I mean, that's not a bad contract for a guy. So we'll bring him in. And the other player I'm actually intrigued about, he's a little bit older, and we highlighted him just a second ago, is Trey Flowers. He's 6'3", 203. And I was thinking, like, at this point, I was like, okay, you know, 67 tackles, not too bad. 74 hit power, 91 speed, 92 acceleration. Very good. Great coverage. It really came down to either Trey Flowers or throwing some money at Jaron Kearse. And obviously, Kearse has connection with Philadelphia, even though, you know, I think it was his uncle was Javon Kearse. The freak wasn't really that great. Kind of goes down as like a bad bust signing for the Eagles. But that is just, he's very slow. Obviously, you get a little bit more in box, 84 speed, 87. So it's not snail's pace. It's not Roddy McLeod, but I think at this point I'm a little more intrigued with someone around Trey Flowers. He's a little more expensive, but I think there's like gadget ability. There's a diamond in the rough. So I don't really want to pay this recommended price. Let's go like 2.5 mil and a half, 3.5 salary. It's not too bad. 3.6 is not too bad. And with those two guys, hopefully you can bring them in, move them to safety, and they'll excel. For special teams, I'm happy with the special teams. We gave Sipos a brand new contract. So as it stands, this is where we're looking. Very bargain bin, but you know, we don't have a lot of money. This is frugal times, and you have opportunities here. Trey Flowers, Amadi, Jalen Smith in particular. Those guys, you never know. They might find their way as a starter for us and develop into something. Have a second chance at their career to really establish themselves as an NFL star. So for the first wave, we got 3 players. Trey Flowers, Donald Parham, and Herbig has returned, which is great. We have the Pro Days again. I don't really know when you take a look at those right now. I promise, future years where we're not just, it's quarterback or bust, looking at the results here for the Pro Days and the Combine, I want to see. It's going to be, moving players up and down our board, but it doesn't really help us a whole lot here this season. Let's see what's looking with our remaining offers for players that didn't sign. It's probably just because we lowballed them, but there's a chance another team got in. And as you can see, Amadi, all right. Well, I mean, we did get Flowers, which is good, so we can withdraw. Billy Price wants to go back to Cincy. Sure. So, hey, Jalen Smith, still interested. No other bids. So, as it stands, I like Kavon Wallace when we drafted him. So, maybe we'll give him the opportunity there at strong safety. So, we will take the approach that Trey Flowers will be a free safety. 6'3", 203. Currently, 77 at corner. Usually, corners go up ratings, at least 1 overall point when you switch them to a safety. So, 77. I'm expecting 78 minimum. He's got to do a 78. All right. And with that, we can, we'll move on from Elijah Riley. Great story coming from Army, but, you gotta be good on the field. It's probably workout time, so we need to finish with our all-out commitment to the QBs. Get our information as much as we can. So we get Tyson Atkinson. We should go with Evans. And I still just think we should, not to completely overcommit. We gotta look at these safeties. And because Amos's combine was so terrifying, let's get him in. So we have Atkinson, Evans, and Amos, all private workouts, especially at least for Atkinson. Give me that 100% so we know for sure if that's the guy we want to pursue with that 4th overall pick, or do we have to explore trying to trade out to pick over, number 1, packaging those 2 top 10 picks, maybe all 3 picks. I don't want to think about having to do that. Down to offseason part 4, new mock draft. I wonder if it's changed a little bit. Might have us going with Atkinson because we showed a little bit of interest. No, we have Joseph Mathis, linebacker. So again, still the mock draft's not exactly. How did we not get any percentage? We had him in for a private workout and we're still stuck at 80? What? And his throw power is great. So maybe that's what we get for the private workout is more clarity on the ratings. Great throw power. Has that gone down for everybody? We still got a solid. Like, dude, what is this? Went from having like 9 first-round quarterbacks to really there's just 1. Like Hauser, what do we got? Elite? Does he have elite? He has elite. Okay, so that's the guy. Amos went up a lot. He went from 40 to 80. Again, like where's the discrepancy there is a little crazy. Why are we getting 40 points on the safety for the private workout, but 0% completion on the quarterback we brought in for the private workout. We also had Evans here. Brian Evans from Penn State. That's solid throw power again, man. Makes you think. We are able to secure the services of Jacoby Stevens, of Jalen Smith, who I want to see. I can't remember if the ratings tend to skew when you move from middle linebacker to outside linebacker. Like, do they go up or down? One of the positions gives you a little bit of a boost. I feel like it is kicking out to outside. So we're going to make Jalen Smith at least entering the draft our starting right outside linebacker. At least he'll have some competition with the Davion Taylor. But he goes from a 71 middle linebacker to, I'm hoping it goes up. 74 outside linebacker. Hell yeah. Okay. Kind of just get an idea before we get into the draft of the landscape of the NFL. Where are some of the big names on? Davante Adams took the payday. Obviously, he went to the Jets. Terry Armstead to the Bengals. Hayward there. Melvin Gordon. I mean, all these guys are veterans at this point. Clowney going to the Lions. Carlton Davis to the Seahawks. Gallup to the Chargers. Okay, you got enough wide receivers there. Marlon Mack to the Dolphins. There's a good running back. Juju to the Lions. So Lions are clearly gearing up to select that quarterback first overall. By look at these signs. Bob Tunyon to the Texans and Njoku to the Chargers. They're very aggressive. Christian Kirk there going to the Texans. Rojo going to the Jets. So it seems like really a couple teams are hitting on some of the young players with some upside. I mean, like, literally the only guy that I didn't sign that I'm like, maybe we could have splurged a little bit was Xavier Woods at safety. We probably could have matched that offer. Obviously, with their salary cap, you see we could have. But, you know, I'm happy with Flowers, happy with that experiment. And ultimately, not a lot of craziness around the league, but I guess, you know, someone like Davante Adams, who seems like he might want that Super Bowl, kind of cap off his career, taking the money, unless he's a big believer of Zach Wilson or Mike White, whoever the quarterback is in New York. And it is now draft time. Not the most important, I think very big landing and changing the organization by going with Kellen Moore. But it is now time. 3 first-round picks. 4th overall. I'm not going to trade up for that QB. If he falls to us, There's only one QB I really want. Is Owen Hauser, and he doesn't look amazing enough to trade what the Lions are going to look for the number 1 overall pick. And he's gone. I don't even have a chance to think about the trade. Owen Hauser, University of Colorado, has gone to the Detroit Lions. The Jets at 2. I mean, they were mocked with the quarterback. I don't think they are going to grab one. So they moved on from Zach Wilson? They grabbed literally like the only other quarterback I would have considered. Okay, there's no way. There is no way, no chance. And if there is, like, I hate that this is my job. If the Chargers draft a quarterback with Justin Herbert there, this needs to be screenshot and sent to the powers that be of Madden. There's no way they're going to. You say that and they got Zach Wilson. Does he have a dev trait, though? Like, if you had a normal dev, I could see that. There's no way. There's no way they get a quarterback. There's no... I spend so much time trying to make realistic content for you people. Like, can I trade for him? Like, I'm not going to. I should. If this was a scenario, I'd go, oh, he's not your guy. You're pulling a Kyler Murray. And those are our quarterbacks. Like, you look at the players that are available, and it's like, we almost have to go court. Like, we got safeties, but safeties don't go this high. They've never gone even historically this high. And you just had the fucking Chargers draft the last good quarterback with Justin Herbert there. Like, imagine if this was like a paid stream. This game just came out. Imagine if I was like, hey, guys, everyone wants to see Forrest's franchise. And then this is the first thing I could show you. It's like, hey, you remember that guy that's literally looking like he broke all the rookie records? They're just going to draft that quarterback. Got to put it behind us. We can't control what's going on. These other, maybe there's no. I can't even come up with a storyline stupid enough to justify that selection. All I can do at this point is say, just enjoy what we're doing for the Eagles, because clearly what's going on outside of this building, outside of our organization, is chaos, unexplainable, should never happen chaos. But the only way that we're going to be able to enjoy the remainder of this offseason, right out of this video, is just, Men in Black it. Put that pen, forget everything that just happened, and it's time to figure out what we're doing with pick 4. We have 2 top 10 picks, pick 15, and all right. So I guess we got to make our pick here now. Yellow? You want to make a deal? Do you see this shit that's going on? Fuck it. Let's make a deal.